Hello again, folks. Actually, I've come to a bonus stop in between the first site and the intended second stop. So this is number 2, then number 2 will become number 3. So I'm in Luc-sur-Mer now. So just a click or two down the road, I'm stopping at a church which quite distinctive. It's rather like the one in Ronville in the British airborne sector because it has a separate tower and nave. So you can see there the main part of the church and the tower. I don't know why it's got the separate tower, but it has. And if you've been on my WW2TV tour, Willie, for example, April, October last year, another one coming up October this year, you will have stopped here, I think, because I normally try and squeeze in a stop here after going to Swordbridge. And you know the score. I've said this many, many times about the fact that there are churches across France and indeed the world with a little green Commonwealth War Graves plaque. And this church has such a plaque. And we're talking about Commandos. So, of course, we're immediately thinking about the Commandos on June the 6th, 1944. And I'll explain more about what they were meant to be doing at our next stop, number 3. But this has an unusual story, this one. But all part of the overarching development of special forces, etc., etc. So if you come to Normandy, I do urge you coming and stopping at this church because it's worth coming here for this, what I'm going to show you. So we're going off through the graveyard and just get to where we're going. So you'll be aware, we've talked about it on World War II TV many times. After 1940, this is when Churchill really encourages the formation of all the special forces, the long-range desert group, the Commandos, eventually parachute forces, SAS, SBS, SOE, all this stuff begins. And it's about taking the war. I just walked into a tree and the leaf hit me in the face. Taking the war to Europe. But in this churchyard are 3 graves. So the first is what you normally get in these cemeteries. It's a pilot. Very early in the war, this one here, Squadron Leader Pitcairn Hill, DSO, DFC, pilot, Royal Air Force, 18th of September, 1940, age 24. So, Battle of Britain. Body washed up, shot down the channel, body washed up here, I believe. Approved unto God, a workman not ashamed, is the epitaph there. But the next 2 are really what we've come here for. So there is Fusilier E. Edwards, Royal Welch Fusiliers, number 4 Commando, 28th of September, 1941, age 20. And then beside him, Lance Corporal C.D. Evans, Brecknockshire Battalion, the South Wales Borderers, number 1 Commando, same date, 28th of September, 1941, age 24. So Commandos in 1941. And there are also 2 other graves, or plaques rather, but these are much later. So this is, I'm going to have to come step over and around the plants now to get here. This is Captain T. Gordon Hemming, number 1 Commando, 1917 to 1992. And below him is his wife, Maud Hemming, 1913 to 2005. So Captain Gordon Hemming, who is he? What was he? Why did he want to be buried here? Well, this is going back to this 1941 raid. So again, I'm going to step around the plants. On the 28th of September 1941, number 1 Commando landed in Normandy to test the German defences. Several commandos were injured and 2 died on the beach at Luc-sur-Mer. They were buried here with full military honours by the Germans. The commanding officer of the raid died in England on the 25th of November 1992. His last wish was to have his ashes brought to Luc to join his comrades. This was done on 26th of September 1993. Every year, the inhabitants of Luc pay homage to those who took part in the first landings on the French coast in 1941. And it talks about the squadron leader washed up in the Battle of Britain. So this was one of the many commando raids that were taking place before 1944. Aquatint is one of the famous ones on what became Omaha Beach. We've covered that on World War II TV. And I forget the name of this operation now off the top of my head. It will come to me later on. So this is the whole building up of information that the Allies would need later on. This is making contact with French resistance networks. It's determining what the Germans are building, how the Atlantic Wall is progressing. They're looking at the beach for the firmness of sand. They're looking at the use of harbors, etc., etc., etc. So the preparation for D-Day involves these missions into France and occupied countries in the years before. And if you saw my Ask Me Anything yesterday, people asked me about what I think of the WW2TV Memorial, and the listing of the British who were killed, and I like it. I like there's a central place, but these people buried here, they are part of the D-Day story in the sense that this raid on France 3 years earlier was all part of that building up of a database of information that enabled the Allies to do what they did on June 6th. So I'm not necessarily saying their name should be on that monument, but they should be acknowledged somewhere, some kind of recognition at WW2TV that people did things before 1944 to prepare for the landing. And just while as I go past here, there's a French monument here to a First World War soldier, André Turcat, and I guess that's his father. Yeah, his father, Gabriel Turcat, who are on the Memorial of the Dead in Luc-sur-Mer. So it's a First World War reference. And you see in lots of French graveyards like this, you see plaques because there are individuals who've been decorated by the French. So these are French veterans, Union Nationale, the combattants. So lots of French served, not just in World War II, but in other wars before and since. So basically, that's the story here. It was a little bonus. That Normandy is not just about the events of 1944, it's about the events of years earlier as well. I'll give you a nice little shot. I'll get artistic, get a bit of leaf in front of it there just to break it up. And there's a church here in Luc-sur-Mer. So that was a bonus. I'm going to hop back in my van and I'm going to drive on to the next intended stop, which is the viewing platform looking over the coast to talk about what I really want to talk about, which is what the Commandos are doing on June 6th. So I will do that in a few minutes' time. I'll be there. That'll be the last one today because I've got to get back to Bayeux because I've got a proper live stream. We're talking about the Hertfordshire Regiment with Paul Johnson this afternoon and the work he's done, the beach groups there. So we'll do that later on. But one more live stream. Give me about 10 minutes to get there.